Thank you for joining me on the journey. This is Completed Christianity. So, welcome back. Once again, another episode of Being Complete. And today is Shabbat. And we continue with our validation of the law commentary. And we continue in the book of Romans. And so, today, we're going to be talking about guilt versus not guilty. Guilty versus not guilty. That's kind of the little theme of the rest of Romans, and that's Romans chapter 3, right here. So let's take a look right in here. All right, let me get to it. Yeah, okay. So much. Oh, not that one. Okay, so Romans chapter 3, and we shall continue on from where we left off after verse 18. So, verse 19. And now we know whatever the Torah says, it says to those who are in the Torah, so that every mouth might be stopped and all the world come under judgment. So this is kind of one of those things in our modern day understanding of Christianity that we kind of say, okay, we'll see. Whatever Torah says, it says those who are keeping the Torah. So you don't keep the Torah, Torah doesn't say anything to you. We're just sinners saved by grace. Well, that's not, I mean, that's doctrines and traditions of men. That's not Scripture. So what this actually is talking about is it's once again talking about the punishments in the law. So whatever the Torah says, it says to those who are in the Torah. So those who are in the Torah are those who are guilty of it. Okay, being under the law, in the law, you're guilty of the law. Just like we've talked about before, like we have speeding laws, and when you get caught speeding, now you're under the law. You're under the penalties of that law. You have to satisfy that law. And so you go in, you go before the court, go before the judge, and you pay your fine. And now once you've paid your fine, now you're free from the law. The law no longer has dominion over you, because you've satisfied the requirement of the law. Well, the way we satisfy the requirement of the law is through the blood of Messiah. The blood of Messiah is applied to, when it's applied to your life, when you are in Him, in Messiah. That means when you're in Him, that you're living the way that He lived. You're doing the things the way that He did. Just like John says that if you say you know Him, you ought to do the things that He did. And so, when you're in the Torah, under the Torah, then you are under its punishments. You're under its control. It has control or dominion over you because you're under it. This doesn't alleviate that you still need to keep the law, because you pay the fine for speeding and you're free from the law. Now, the law no longer has dominion over you, but you're not free to go out and be a lawbreaker. That should be common sense. And it's the same thing here. And we know that whatever the Torah says, it says to those who are in the Torah, so that every mouth might be stopped. So when you're in the Torah, you're under its punishments. You don't get to boast. You don't get to say how great you are, or how good you are, or how much. No, you're in that state where you can't save yourself. You need Messiah. Okay? so that every mouth might be stopped, and that the world come under judgment before the Mighty One. So here we go, continue with the judgment that keeps talking about, we talked about last week. So the Torah says these things to those who are guilty of it, so that every mouth might be stopped, and the world come under judgment under the Mighty One. Therefore, so here we go, we got this word therefore. So what's the therefore? The therefore is this last part, so that every mouth might be stopped and all the world come under judgment. Because you don't get to say that you're righteous, because you're not. When you're under the punishments of the law, and you don't have the blood of Messiah applied to your life, you don't get to say that. Okay, so therefore, by works no flesh shall be declared right before him. So you can't do the works of the law and be justified. You have to have the blood of Messiah to be justified, to be declared right. Therefore, by the works of Torah, no flesh shall be declared right before him. For by the Torah is the knowledge of sin. So this is the purpose of the law, is that we have the knowledge of sin. We know what to do. We know what not to do. Okay, this is the purpose of the law. It's to produce righteousness in human flesh. But now, apart from the Torah, a righteousness of the Mighty One has been revealed, being witnessed by the Torah and the prophets. So now, this being apart from the Torah, Messiah, he is the Torah made flesh, and so but apart from the letter, now we have the Torah of the flesh, the Torah in the flesh, in Messiah, the Torah in the flesh, not of the flesh, but in the flesh of Messiah. And so now, Messiah, he is this Torah that it comes in and it saves us. It makes us, by his blood, him being the living Torah, he dies for us. So the letter, it can't die for you, thus it can't bleed for you, and so there's no remission of sins without the shedding of blood. And so by this, the Torah could never save you by the letter, it could only condemn you. But now that it's made flesh in him, now it can bleed for you, and it did. But apart from the letter of the Torah comes Messiah, and in it, it's a righteousness of the Mighty One. It's been revealed, and it being witnessed by the Torah and the prophets means that Messiah is what was prophesied about through the Torah and through the prophets. It's all in him, and the righteousness of the Mighty One is through belief in Yahshua Messiah, and to all who believe. For there is no difference. For all have sinned and fallen short of the esteem or honor of the Mighty One, being declared right without paying. Okay, so in Messiah, then all of us, for we all sinned, we all fall short. Okay, we all fall short of this honor, of honoring the Mighty One. Okay, doing what he says is honoring him. Okay, so that we're declared right without paying by his favor through the redemption which is in Messiah Yeshua. So we're declared right without paying. So you don't have to, there's no amount of righteousness that you can do, righteous works you can do on yourself, on your own part. There's no amount of that you can do to be declared right, but we're declared right without paying through Messiah. But once that's done, once you've been declared right, now you're to be in Him. You're to live like He lives. And He lived according to the law. So, whom Elohim has set forth, whom the Mighty One has set forth as an atonement through belief in His blood, to demonstrate His righteousness, because in His tolerance the Mighty One passed over the sins that had taken place before. So this is what we keep talking about. He passes over your previous sins through the blood. Okay? Now, as Paul says, we're to work out our salvation with fear and trembling. We work out that salvation by keeping the works of the law. You can't get salvation by the works of the law, but you work out that salvation. Now that you've been justified, the slate's been wiped clean. Now you're to, quote, live right, and the only standard to, quote, live right is the Father's law given through Moses, His Torah. So the Mighty One had passed over the sins that had taken place before to demonstrate at this present time His righteousness, that He is righteous and declares righteous the one who has belief in Yahshua. So this belief in Yahshua just isn't like saying, oh, well, He's, I believe in Him, I believe He existed, I believe He did good things, I believe He was a prophet. No, it comes back to the analogy of the kid chair versus the adult chair, and if you're a 250-pound adult and you got this chair rated for a 50-pound child, are you going to sit in that chair for the 50-pound child? No, because you don't believe in it. Well, when you believe in something, you take an action. And so when you believe in Messiah, you take action to live like He lived, to walk as He walked, like John says. Where then is boasting? It is shut out. That's what we were talking about before. That every mouth is stopped because of the punishments of the law, because of what the law says comes on a person. You can't do it yourself. You need Him. It's shut out. By what Torah? Of works? No. But by the Torah of belief, by faith. So it's this faith. When you believe in something, it's not just a mental ascension. There's a work involved. So when you believe in Messiah, then you walk as He walked. You do as He did. And as I say many times, you do as He did. And He was a, quote, he was a Torah observant, Sabbath keeping, quote, kosher eating, tassel wearing Hebrew. But that doesn't look like our modern Christianity, because doctrines and traditions came in, beginning with the Catholic Church, and it carried over into the Protestant movements. Everything didn't get ferreted out, and now we have the mess that we have today. For we reckon that a man is declared right by belief without the works of the law, without the works of Torah. So You know, typically Christianity, they look at this and they say, well, see, we're declared right without the works of Torah. Well, yeah, but that doesn't negate the works. I mean, and even most Christians, historically anyway, will tell you that. Because, there's at least 9 of the 10 commandments that you're supposed to keep. Even though we never think of it that way in Christianity. We never think, oh, well, we keep 9. No, there's 10 commandments, we keep 10 commandments. But there's that one we like to conveniently leave out, which is the only one that he says to remember to do. Or is he the mighty one of the Yahudim only, and not also of the nations? Yes, of the nations also, since it is the mighty one who shall declare right the circumcised by belief and the uncircumcised through belief. So then he will declare both Jew and Gentile, Jew and Greek. There's neither Jew nor Greek in Messiah. All are made one. So do we then nullify the law, the Torah, through belief? Let it not be. On the contrary, we establish the Torah. So he goes through all of this, against the Torah, as it sounds like, he's against keeping the Torah for salvation. That's what all of these things that he states against the Torah. He's against keeping the Torah for salvation, because you're not saved by the works of the law, you're saved by the blood of Messiah. Okay, but so he talks about how that we're made right by faith, made right by belief, not by works of Torah. But do we then nullify the Torah through belief? He says, let it not be. On the contrary, we establish the Torah. We establish the Torah by faith, because the Torah is of faith. It is of faith. It's the faith of Abraham. So that if you believe in the Father and you believe in His Word, then when you believe, then you will, when you believe, you will do what He says. When you believe, you will not be half-hearted. You will do what He says when you believe. Psalm 89:34, my covenant I will not break, nor alter the word that has gone out of my lips. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below. Comments of opposition are welcome. Just don't say anything dumb like we're not under the law. We're under grace, because you've been taught to use that verse outside of the bounds of its intended context. Subscribe now. Smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get notifications of all future videos.